Jai Janendra, everyone, and thank you so much for staying with us throughout this entire conference. We've had such great conversations and questions from the audience. We realize there's so many that we're trying to answer and keep up with, and our moderators and participants are trying to keep up with your wonderful questions, so please keep those coming. This last panel that we have is called A Vision of the Future, Advancing Ahimsa in Practice. And what we really want to do is highlight some of the work that each of our organizations are doing who have contributed to the creation of this conference. And I am Dr. Christopher Jane Miller from Arihanta Institute. I'm a professor and academic here, and I teach courses, as you'll see, across many different levels. And I'm also going to be joined here by the Jain Vegan Initiative, the Ahimsa Eco-Vegan Committee at Jaina, as well as Compassionate Living, all of whom made such an integral contribution to organizing this conference, and it would not have been possible without this wonderful collaboration that we have all had together. So thank you all in the audience as well for making this what it was. We had about 500 people registered for this conference, astonishing, and people have been coming in and out, and the recordings will be available soon after. So what I want to talk to you about is a little bit about Arihanta Institute, what brought me here, and how you can learn about Ahimsa and many of the things that we've been talking about with regard to animal advocacy and veganism. My own journey through veganism, or to becoming vegan, was very transformative. I had been a vegetarian for a very long time as a result of the influence of the Jain community and my own yoga studies as well. And I also, one summer, 2019, before the pandemic, we've been talking about the summer of 2019, when Game Changers came out, a few things happened. I was intensely preparing an undergraduate course in Jain studies, deeply studying Jain philosophy, Ahimsa, and all the things, parallel things that are connected with that, and was feeling like, is vegetarianism enough? I was asking myself this question. And at the same time that summer, the Jain vegans in the UK were doing their Give Up Dairy for Paryushan campaign, which we've heard about, asking people to at least give up dairy for Paryushan and to maybe commit to going vegan as a result of that. And that same summer, the Game Changers came out, and I watched the Game Changers. I was really influenced by that. And it's only recently that I found out that Nirva Patel, a Jain, was the executive producer of that film. So as you can see, the Jain influence is widespread. It sometimes is in our face and we're hearing about it and we see it, and at other times there are people working behind the scenes. And so there's a lot of different ways that we come to becoming vegan, and education is one of those priorities and one of those ways that this can happen. And so we hope that this conference has been that for you, and at Arihanta Institute, that's exactly what we're trying to do: educate people so that they can make the best choices for themselves and for society. So our vision here at Arihanta Institute, we are a nonprofit 501c3 educational nonprofit institution, okay? Our vision, as you see, is that Jain philosophy and practice, which we've brought together in this conference, will become more widely known, appreciated, and adopted through enhanced and accessible education in Jain teachings and practice. We are fundamentally an online institution. You may meet me in certain places at certain times around the world if I'm visiting a Jain center or something like that, and I love to meet Jains all around the world. I just came back from London, for example, at the new Colindale Jain Center opening, which was a wonderful thing. But most all of our educational activities are taking place here online, accessible, democratized, and we do indeed have students from all over the globe. Our institution is founded on Jain principles, and as well as on the vision of Acharya Sushil Kumar, who you see pictured here, and this is a picture from our website, who really had this vision to create these temples of learning. And our co-founder, president, and CEO, Dr. Parveen Jain, was a very close follower of Acharya Sushil Kumar, and his vision for bringing Jain wisdom around the world is really what we're trying to do here to make the world a better place. You can learn more about that vision at our website. Now, as you've seen here, we are focusing on animal advocacy and veganism in this particular event that we're holding. But Arihanta Institute has 6 learning areas, and I think what you gotta hear is a good taste of how we work in one of our learning areas, which is animal advocacy and biodiversity. But we have 6 learning areas, and I'm going to go over all of them with you right now. Jain philosophy, history, and anthropology is the first one. You can have this really intensive experience of Jain philosophy and tradition. Climate change and environment, animal advocacy and biodiversity, professional ethics, yoga, self-care, and spirituality, and of course, social justice. So we have these 6 learning areas. And what we're really trying to do is bring the Jain tradition into conversation with some of the biggest questions and issues and challenges of our day, ultimately to educate people to make the world a better place. It's our nonprofit mission to really try to democratize these teachings and bring them into conversation with all of these issues. So for example, I'll talk about animal advocacy and biodiversity first of our 6 learning areas, which is really what this program that we've been doing here has been directed towards helping us understand better. And what it really does is it brings current issues surrounding animals and biodiversity loss into conversation with Jain approaches. I don't think I have to explain what that is because we've seen it happening here, right? We've seen Jain responses, Jain principles, Jain values being applied and engaged with particular issues of our time with regard to the way that we treat animals and the effect of our relationship with animals on the environment, on society, and on, of course, the animals themselves. And so this is what we try to teach in the animal advocacy and biodiversity learning area, where we have many courses. I'll show you some in a moment. We also have climate change and environment, something we've been talking about today. This is another learning area that is of high interest and high value in society right now. There's so much going on with climate change. It's rapidly advancing, as we saw in Gina Shah's presentation today, faster than we imagined. Dr. Gina Shah had mentioned that, Dr. Tushar Mehta had talked a bit about it. And what we do here in climate change and environment courses is try to bring current issues surrounding climate change, environmental pollution, into conversation with Jain approaches and responses to teach people how to be in the world in a better way, to think better in a better way, in alignment with climate science and pollution science, but also in alignment with Jain principles, because Jain principles have a lot to offer us when we think about nonviolence, reducing our consumption, thinking about the ways that we travel. These are all really important points that the Jain tradition brings, and they've been there for centuries. And so they help us rethink ways toward better choices we can make in this regard. Now, there's 3 ways of learning with this. Those are 2 of our learning areas that I think are most applicable to what we're doing right now. But there are 3 different ways you can learn with us to learn about these different things. You can do it through self-study on our website, where we have a lot of courses that are not very expensive and very robust, from experts around the world. You can take live courses with us, and you can take graduate level education with us. And so I've taken a screenshot here from our website, self-paced online learning courses. We have a lot of self-paced online learning courses. You can go through any of these learning areas and find a course that will be interesting to you. Here you see just 3 pictured that you could take. And I'll also provide a coupon code for people if they want for a short time to take 50% off of a course. These are not being sold at extraordinary prices. You know, if you apply the discount code, it will cost around $49 US. And if anyone needs a scholarship and you really have financial difficulties, you can reach out to me, reach out to us, and let us know, because our goal is to educate you. We also have live online learning courses, and these ones I really want to highlight right now because these are ones that are coming up this fall right after Paryushan. So if you're committing this year during Paryushan to educate yourself, to learn more about the Jain tradition, and you want to do it in a live setting, each of these 4 courses here are really, really for you. So there are 2 for Jain youth. So for all the parents out there, they want their children to learn more like in a Patshala kind of style, and they don't have access to Patshala maybe. You see courses 107 and 108, Introduction to Agas Ashram, and then the Essence of Jainism, the 16 Bhavanas. These are made for people who are 18 and under, and they would be wonderful for children. People were asking about courses for their children and education for their children. And then we also have an adults course, a couple of adults courses, course 109, Dashlakshan Dharma, to follow as a Jain. So thinking about Dashlakshan and Paryushan, Dinesh Jain in Chicago is going to be teaching this live course for you on Saturdays. And we also have Manoj Jain teaching a course, Jain Path to the Jain Way of Living, for the 2nd time, which was a wonderful and well-received course in the previous semester. So these are adult level courses, 109 and 103 that you see down there. And I highly encourage you to enroll in one of these. In addition to our self-study, our live online learning, our 3rd level of education that we have here at Arihanta Institute is graduate level education. So we actually have a graduate degree in collaboration with our partner, Claremont School of Theology in Southern California. This is remotely available, so you can study with us online. You will see all of the professors that you see below here and have spoken in this conference there, and you will learn with us. And in fact, starting tomorrow, we are launching our first full semester with our graduate students. And I know some of them are here. And I'm so happy that you joined and you've been chatting and putting stuff in the Q&A. So we're really happy to launch this program. And I'm loving all the emojis flying up right now because that's how I feel inside, because we've been working on this for a long time. And we put together a program that gets you a master's degree, and you get to study Jain tradition philosophically, historically, anthropologically, but you get to learn, most importantly, how to engage and apply these principles in everyday life. So you're going to read some of the best scholarship, some of it being produced by our own faculty in Jain studies, and you're going to get to learn how to really make yourself and make your spiritual life better for yourself, make the world a better place, all of these things combined. This is the first of its kind program outside of India, and it is really one of a kind in North America and Europe. So we still have perhaps a few scholarships. If anyone's interested in applying for this program, reach directly out to me and I can tell you more about it. And I should also mention that you're not just studying with the three of us here. If you study in this program, you're also studying with Professor Venu Mehta. She is at Claremont School of Theology, a wonderful professor of Jain studies. And you're also studying with other faculty at Claremont School of Theology in allied fields of inquiry, like interreligious dialogue is a major component. How do we make peace between different religious traditions? How do we speak to one another across traditions? And of course, the Jain tradition has a lot to bring to that conversation with regards to things like Anekantavada and other Jain principles that really emphasize this kind of interreligious conversation while allowing others to maintain their positions without having to convert people to a religious tradition. So all this will be available through our graduate program. Here's a scholarship code, AI Enroll 23. If anybody wants to take one of these courses for really, it's less than $50 to take one of these courses. And I'm showing you some of our courses in animal advocacy and biodiversity. There's Ahimsa Animal Advocacy and Veganism taught by Hope Bohanec, who we heard from so far across this event, and who is a central organizer at Compassionate Living. And then we also have a course by the Jain Vegan Initiative, Beyond Vegetarianism, Jain Veganism and the Promotion of Ahimsa by Pratik Bansali, who is here, Sunny Jain, who is here, and Nisha Mehta, who is also here and has been helping to create this conference. This conference really emerges out of all the collaborative work that we've been doing in these courses. And there's a lot of this information and answers to your questions that you've been asking in the Q&A in these courses. So if you want to take one, these are self-study courses. You can take them on your own pace, and they're on our website. Again, there's the coupon code if anyone wants to take it. There's also another course that I teach on Jain Dharma and animal advocacy, if you want to get a taste of what we do here at Arihanta Institute. And then Professor Jonathan Dickstein, who we heard from yesterday, teaches a course on Jain approaches to animal sentience. Question in the Jain tradition that gets brought up a lot. It's questions of sentience, and he brings it into relationship with science, the science of our day. There's another course that we have still on our website that doesn't cost anything, and we offered this course in collaboration with our partners at Museum Rietberg here in Zurich, who did the major Jain exhibition recently. And this course is offered at no fees. It's a 6-hour course, Jain responses to climate change. It brings climate science into conversation with Jain principles and shows how by living the Jain way of life, we can reduce our karmic and climate impact on ourselves and on the world around us, and makes these direct connections between climate science and the Jain tradition. So that's all I really wanted to share with you. I should bring myself down below here and say Jai Jinendra, and I wish you all the best. I thank you all for coming to our conference and look forward to speaking with many of you soon. And I want to thank all of our collaborators